Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, City Current CEO, Jeremy Park.
Welcome back to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And that's why we're honored to have with us Chuck Abbott, President and CEO of Grayline, Tennessee, and the 2025 State of Diabetes Chair for the American Diabetes Association. Chuck, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you, Jeremy.
Well, let's start on the business side and then how you got involved with the American Diabetes Association. So give us a little bit of background on Grayline, Tennessee.
Well, let me first say thank you for what you do to make the business community aware of the importance of being intentional about giving back. One of our core values here at Grayline, Tennessee is community, and that really does resonate with our employees. They want to know, as you point out, that they're working for a company that really cares about doing good things in the community. So Grayline, Tennessee is 52 years old. It was started by two brothers that drove around in station wagons and pointed out where all the country music stars lived. And so here we are, 5 decades later, and that's still one of our more popular sightseeing tours. But we have over 320 employees and 250 vehicles, and we do sightseeing, but the majority of our work is with motor coaches. We do all the professional sports teams, college. We've got a robust school bus business, 120 school buses. So the majority of our 320 employees are drivers. And if you think about the fact that that's sort of a sedentary kind of life and they sit as their job. And so one of our other core values is education. And so it's really, really important that we educate our employees on how to take care of themselves. And part of that education, obviously, is workforce training, but we want them to be aware of every element of having a healthy, balanced life. And so whether that's financial education, physical education, we want them to be aware of a lot of the conditions that could lead to diabetes. And so there's a little bit of a tie into why we are associated with the ADA, so that these employees can really understand what they can do to be active and look for signs for early indications of pre-diabetes.
Yeah, and I'm glad you kind of shared that side of it, because to your point, when you think about the connection to community, the transportation and how important that is, and everything from the storytelling and the tours to really just, getting able to the airport and getting guest speakers, like all of these things that make a community thrive, the connectivity, that is obviously the heart and soul of what you do. But to your point, being sedentary and saying, okay, we want to take care of you, your health, and provide these resources, not just for the connection for the community, but the connection for yourself. To me, that's a really cool through line. Carry that into when you look at some of the things overall that you all are involved in, and then we'll dive in deep on this. But talk about some of the nonprofits and different organizations for you and your team that really put a smile on your face when you look at the giving for your team and the connection to the community.
Yeah, so we've been involved with an organization called PENCIL, and that's an acronym that stands for Public Education Needs Community Involvement and Leadership. And that organization supports the Metropolitan Nashville Public School System directly. We don't serve them as a client, but we have charter schools. And so it's important for us to be a part of that community and be involved in that space, to be able to give back to just education in general, because a lot of people don't think about the fact that, kids that are in school now they're the future workforce. And so we want to be able to give them just different options as they think about what they want to do through the rest of their career. And then similarly, we work with Operation Stand Down Tennessee, and their charter primarily is to help veterans that have sort of fallen in the crack, if you will, after they leave active duty. And we try to work with them upstream so that as people are thinking about coming out of active duty, we give them opportunities to think about what they can do in transition, even if they come and work for us for 6 months as they're learning how to, live a life that doesn't involve being told what to wear and when to wake up and every aspect of their life being controlled, we'll take them for that 6 months. We love our veterans. They're not afraid of heavy equipment. They don't mind wearing a uniform. They show up on time and generally have good customer service skills. So those are the two primary relationships that we have as an organization. But I tell all of our employees during the orientation, if you have a charity that you're involved with or a nonprofit, let us know how we can promote that within our organization. Because again, we want to be known as a company that gives back to the community that for 50 plus years have been taking care of us as a company.
Yeah, that's awesome. There's so many questions that, when you talk about the transportation business and trends and things like that, we'll save that for another day and have you come back on and we'll focus on Gray Line, Tennessee then. But let's go ahead and focus on American Diabetes Association. When you talk about the work that's being done, especially across the state of Tennessee, let's start with some context because I think, people hear type 1, type 2 diabetes, but when you start talking about, okay, let's define diabetes, let's define, type 1, type 2, give us some of the basics for diabetes.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can start at 30,000 feet and talk about the ADA, right? They're celebrating 85 years this year. Their goal is to try to prevent and cure diabetes. And basically, they want to improve lives of people that are living with both type 1 and type 2 diabetes. And so they serve as an advocate to make sure that there's an authoritative voice out there for people that are living with diabetes. And they advocate for policy change and quality care and procedures and resources. And a lot of what they offer is low cost or no cost programming. And not only do they have a nationwide staff, but they have over 500,000 volunteers nationwide. So I'm just one of 500,000 people that are trying to make things work for the organization. But they fund critical and innovative research. And here in Nashville, Vanderbilt University Medical Center is a recipient of a lot of that funding, and they do great work over there. But they want their education to be fact-based, evidence-based, and they just create networks locally that really help people understand diabetes and deal with it as individuals and as a family. So if you look at Tennessee, there are over 820,000 people that have either type 1 or type 2 diabetes, and that's like 12% of the population. And if you go to the national level, there are 38 million people that suffer with the disease, either type 1 or type 2. And people that are living with the disease are likely to spend 2.5 times the amount of money on healthcare that people without the disease would spend. So it's a critical impact on family life, individual life. So in Tennessee, about $7 billion a year is spent on treating diabetes directly. And then there's another $3 billion of cost, if you will, just for non-productivity as people can't work because they're dealing with the disease. So every year, 56,000 people are diagnosed with the disease, and it leads to a variety of complications from the disease, including heart disease, stroke, kidney disease, blindness, amputation, and obviously death is a very real risk. So I got involved with the American Diabetes Association. I've always known about diabetes. I had a childhood friend who was a type 1, and he just struggled with just the treatment, right? I mean, it wasn't as advanced as it is now. And it was difficult for him. And then over the years, I've had several family members who have developed type 2 diabetes, but it really became more real for me when my granddaughter, Claire, when she was 5 years old, was diagnosed with type 1. And seeing the impact on her life and the life of her family just made it very real. And I wanted to do what I could to help an organization that was devoted to research and cure and making lives better. So I think, like with any chronic disease, the minute it becomes personal, it sort of becomes universal, and we all have this sort of shared experience. So that's what got me drawn into to the ADA, the work of the ADA.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And even on my end, personally, diabetes is a big part of it. I mean, my dad's brother and sister both, it wrecked our family on his side for sure. And he's always talking about make sure you take care of your health and make sure because it runs in the family. And so when you talk about, to your point, how pervasive it is, and whether it's you directly or knowing your loved ones and others who are impacted by it, you start looking around, and yeah, I mean, it impacts so many loved ones who are close to you. So it becomes very personal. Talk about what you want, because I think the research to me is critically important, and understanding that they're looking for protocols and treatments and trying to cure, and finding that, and even the local impact through Vanderbilt. What are some things, though, with either new protocols? And I'm already thinking like the technology, because we have family members that have diabetes. And when you look at the technology that's able to give them a quality of life now that's different than even years before, I think that advancement is really exciting. But talk about some of the good things that are going on within diabetes, the world, that really puts a smile on your face that you want people to know about.
Well, I think you have to start with like what is the difference between type 1 and type 2? A lot of people don't know what the disease is. So, I mean, I'm not a medical professional by any stretch, but I think I understand the basics. So, I mean, what's common between the two is this, right? Every cell in our body uses glucose or blood sugar as the source of energy, right? And it's our muscles, our organs, brain, tissue, everything needs blood sugar as energy, and we need that constant supply. And it's insulin that releases the sugar in our bloodstream into the cells so that they can use it as energy. And so in both type 1 and type 2, that process of converting sugar to energy via the insulin is not working as designed, right? And so then blood sugar levels rise, and a lot of bad things happen. So in type 1 diabetes, your body is actually the immune system is thinking that these beta cells in your pancreas are actually foreign, and it tries to destroy them. So once enough of those cells are gone, your pancreas can't produce insulin, and sugar just builds up in the bloodstream. And as much research is being done, scientists still haven't figured out yet what causes it or how to prevent it. But once it's diagnosed, the treatment, the care, the equipment, the technology, everything that goes along with that is just amazing in terms of the advancements, and people can live normal, healthy lives with proper treatment and proper care. So I think that's one of the things that makes me smile is visiting the research centers that are looking at this, and the level of technology is just beyond my comprehension, but there are really, really bright people all over the world that are working on it. And so even though it's very close to home for me, I know there's a lot of hope for further advancements. And again, the ADA is confident that one day we will find a cure. So those are all good things. Now, type 2 is a little bit different, because at some point during your life, your body kind of forgets how to process insulin. And so then your pancreas reacts and says, all right, I'll produce more insulin. And it gets to the point where it can't produce enough. And so like type 1 diabetes, it's impactful, right? It's harmful, but it can also be treated, not just with insulin, but with diet and exercise and maintenance medications. And so I think, again, on the type 2, more education is probably as important as the research that's being done on type 1, because there are a lot of misconceptions about type 2 diabetes. But when type 1 generally is diagnosed in young people, and type 2 middle-aged and older, but that's not always the case. There's actually a third type of diabetes that's referred to as gestational diabetes, and happens during pregnancy. And again, the scientists don't know what causes it. It happens about 9 or 10% of pregnancies, and it's not an indication that you had diabetes before, or that you're going to have it afterwards, or that the baby is going to have diabetes. But again, the key is early detection and treatment during pregnancy. So what makes me smile is when I go and hear these really, really bright people talking about the research that's being done, and the funding that's going into it. And so I'm always very hopeful that the technology will continue to advance, and who knows, maybe we'll have artificial pancreas replacements one day.
When you look at the support side of this and building community through the American Diabetes Association, there are all sorts of opportunities. We'll talk about the events to plug in, but there's also a camp. And so talk about the camp. It's Camp Sugar Falls. And so talk about that.
Yeah, so I mentioned that my granddaughter was diagnosed with type 1 in 2016, We heard about the camp. I actually had heard about it before she was diagnosed, but she had an opportunity to go to the camp. But she was about 3 weeks too young. You needed to be 6. So the camp was for kids 6 to 15. And she was still 5. And they said, well, she can go to camp as long as somebody from her family goes along with her. And I thought, well, my wife, Susan, was a nurse. She would be the perfect person to go. She had just gotten back from a mission trip in Brazil, a medical mission trip. And so she couldn't be out of work for another week. So I thought, well, okay, how hard could it be? I'll go ahead and do that. So I went to the orientation on the Sunday afternoon before camp. And when I got the paperwork, I was in charge. I was the counselor in charge of all the 6 and 7-year-old campers that week. So I wasn't expecting that, but I had a blast, and it was amazing time spent with my granddaughter, and I've gone back every year since. And so through that experience, I've become a huge advocate for Camp Sugar Falls because of the changes I saw that are taking place in the lives of not just the campers that are there, but the families. It's cool to count carbs, right? It's okay to wear a monitor and a pump. It's okay to take a little extra time before you go into activities. And if you get tired, it's okay to sit down. The camp is all about the kids dealing with diabetes. And I think it was just an amazing experience overall. And the medical professionals that volunteer, all of the medical staff, the doctors are all from Vanderbilt. And Belmont School of Pharmacy sends counselors, and it's just a wonderful experience across the board. And it was actually founded in 1982. It's a welcoming, safe, fun environment. And I have to recognize Dr. Jennifer Najjar. She started it way back in the day, and she's been there for decades, and she just recently retired. But I also want to shout out to the guys at YMCA who run the camp. It's the Joe C. Davis Outdoor Center, also known as Camp Widgewagon, over in Antioch. But it's not just about managing the diabetes. That's important, but it's really about the friendships that take place. That form. My granddaughter is friends with somebody she met her second year, and they're probably going to be friends for life. And families appreciate the fact that they meet other families that are dealing with the situation. So from a support standpoint, it's not just for the campers; it's for the families. And again, I mean, you have to remember that type 1 diabetes, especially with young people, it impacts the entire family. So it's just a great event.
Yeah, I love it. That's awesome. So carry that into the ways the community can support and get involved with the American Diabetes Association, because you have events, you have all sorts of opportunities. So talk about the ways the community can support.
All right, so every year we do a step out walk, and it's an opportunity to have a fun, kind of competitive. Companies can form teams. It's a fundraising event, but it's fun. It's usually held in the March-April timeframe. The State of Diabetes is an event that we hold every year. I'm the chairman of that event this year. That's more about education for employers. As I said, the cost associated with dealing with diabetes is just astronomical. And so it's not about just keeping the cost down. It's really about solving the core problem, which is educating people on how to take better care of themselves. So people can find out more about State of Diabetes. It's usually held in November. November is Diabetes Awareness Month. And then again, Camp Sugar Falls, you can find out more about that at diabetes.org /Camp Sugar Falls. And I would really encourage families to look at that or to volunteer. It's just a great opportunity to impact the lives of kids and families that are dealing with diabetes. But in every case, it's really about raising awareness and raising money. I mean, it takes a lot of money to do this research. And so the ADA nationally, as I said, is involved in a lot of the fundraising, and they're very efficient in the way that they raise money, distribute money. It's just a great organization. And I think the distinction between the ADA and other organizations that address dealing with diabetes is that the ADA helps people that are dealing with both type 1 and type 2. And again, it's a very prevalent disease, and the more we know about it, and the more we can help people deal with it effectively, the better off we are as a society.
Yeah, absolutely. Knowledge is power, and knowing that there's resources out there, opportunities, community, and all sorts of opportunities to connect and learn and grow together. But also too, like you mentioned, with the activities for the kids and the camps and like all of that, to me is just powerful to know that there's hope there for you, and that the research and all those dollars being invested in leading to new protocols and advancements and hopefully a cure, all of that is in place as well. So very powerful stuff. You never can say it enough in the world of media. Mention again, website, where do we go to learn more and get involved with the American Diabetes Association?
Diabetes.org, and Camp Sugar Falls would be diabetes.org/Camp Sugar Falls.
And then where do we go to learn more and connect in with Gray Line Tennessee?
So I appreciate that. GrayLineTN.com. You can find all of the products that we offer, and we've got some pages that kind of describe what we do in the community. And again, we're delighted to be part of the growth of Nashville. We've been doing it for 50 years, and we've got a great team of employees, and we're all about culture. And I think what we tell people is, we're more than transportation. Hopefully the people that use our services understand that we're committed to customer service. From the time somebody calls to book a motor coach for a wedding, or they get off the open top double decker and give us a 5-star review on TripAdvisor, we try to delight our customers all through the process.
Well, Chuck, thank you for all you and your amazing team do to power the good. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.